Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible stories. The front door slammed at 2:47 a.m., and I knew my marriage was about to implode. I'd been lying awake for hours, staring at the ceiling of our suburban townhouse, listening to every car that passed by, hoping it wasn't Kalantha coming home. But deep down, I knew she'd eventually stumble through that door with some elaborate story about why she'd been out until nearly 3 in the morning at what was supposed to be a girls' night. "Adrien, you awake?" Her voice carried up the stairs, slightly slurred, accompanied by the sound of heels being kicked off carelessly in the entryway. I didn't answer. What was the point? We both knew this conversation was coming, and we both knew it wasn't going to go well. Kalantha appeared in our bedroom doorway, her dark hair disheveled, makeup smeared slightly around her eyes. She was wearing that black dress, the one I'd bought her for our anniversary last year, the one she claimed made her feel confident and beautiful. Tonight, it just made her look guilty. "Why are you still up?" she asked, trying to sound casual as she fumbled with her jewelry at the dresser. "Where were you, Cal?" She paused, her hands freezing on her earrings. "I told you, out with the girls. Sabine wanted to celebrate her promotion, remember? Until almost 3 in the morning. Time flies when you're having fun." She turned to face me, and I could see the defiance already building in her eyes. "What's with the interrogation? I'm a grown woman, Adrien. I don't need a curfew." I sat up in bed, my heart pounding. "I saw the photos, Kalantha." Her face went pale. "What photos?" "The ones Tasha posted on Instagram before she deleted them. You, at some club downtown, dancing with that guy Jesse from the gym. Real close dancing." Kalantha's expression shifted from guilt to anger in seconds. "Oh, so now I can't dance?" "It was just dancing, Adrien. God, you're being so paranoid." "Just dancing." I stood up, my voice rising despite my efforts to stay calm. "You were practically grinding on him, Cal. In public, while wearing your wedding ring. You're being ridiculous." She turned back to the mirror, aggressively removing her makeup. "It was harmless fun. Everyone was dancing. Everyone was having a good time. I'm sorry you're too uptight to understand that." "Harmless fun?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Kalantha, you're married. We have a daughter sleeping down the hall. How is any of this harmless?" She spun around, her eyes flashing. "Don't you dare bring Issa into this. I'm a good mother, and you know it. Just because I went out and had some fun doesn't mean I'm a bad person. I never said you were a bad person. But what you did tonight..." "What I did tonight was dance with a friend. That's it. If you want to make it into something dirty and wrong, that's on you, not me." I stared at her, watching as she expertly twisted the narrative, making me the villain for being hurt by her behavior. It was a skill she'd perfected over our 8 years of marriage, this ability to make me question my own reality. "Jesse isn't just a friend, Cal. He's been flirting with you for months. I've seen the way he looks at you at the gym, the way he texts you. He's a trainer. He's friendly with everyone. And even if he does flirt a little, so what? I can't control other people's behavior." "But you can control your own." She laughed bitterly. "Right, so now I'm supposed to be rude to people just because my husband is insecure? This isn't about insecurity, isn't it?" She crossed her arms, fully in attack mode now. "Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you can't handle the fact that younger men find me attractive, that they want to dance with me, talk to me, spend time with me. Maybe if you paid me half as much attention as they do, we wouldn't be having this conversation." The accusation hit like a slap. "I pay attention to you, Kalantha. I work 60 hours a week to provide for our family. I help with Issa. I try to be present. Try being the operative word." She turned back to the mirror, dismissing me. "When's the last time you took me dancing? When's the last time you made me feel beautiful, desired, alive? I tell you, you're beautiful every day." Saying it and making me feel it are two different things. I felt the familiar weight of guilt settling on my shoulders. the same guilt she always managed to pile on whenever I tried to address her behavior. Somehow, her flirting with other men had become my fault for not being attentive enough, romantic enough, exciting enough. This isn't about me, Cal. This is about you crossing boundaries that shouldn't be crossed. What boundaries? She faced me again, her voice rising. I didn't kiss him. I didn't sleep with him. I danced with him, at a public club, with dozens of people around. If that's crossing a boundary, then maybe your boundaries are the problem. Maybe they are, I said quietly, the words surprising both of us. She blinked, clearly not expecting me to agree. What's that supposed to mean? Maybe my boundaries are too restrictive for you. Maybe you need to be with someone who's okay with their wife dancing intimately with other men. Someone who doesn't mind being disrespected in public. Disrespected? She laughed, but there was no humor in it. Jesus, Adrien, listen to yourself. You sound like some controlling patriarch from the 1950s. And you sound like someone who doesn't want to be married. The words hung in the air between us, heavy and final. Kalantha's mouth opened and closed, but no sound came out. For a moment, I saw something flicker across her face. Fear, maybe, or recognition of how far we'd fallen. But then the defiance returned, stronger than ever. Fine, she said, her voice cold. If that's how you feel, then maybe I should go be with those younger men who actually appreciate me. Maybe you should. She stared at me for a long moment, clearly expecting me to take it back, to apologize, to beg her to stay. When I didn't, her expression hardened. Fine, she repeated, and stalked into the bathroom, slamming the door behind her. I sank back onto the bed, my hands shaking. In the span of 20 minutes, my marriage had gone from damaged to potentially destroyed. And the worst part was, I wasn't sure I cared anymore. From down the hall, I heard Issa's bedroom door creak open. Daddy, her small voice carried through the darkness. Why are you and Mommy yelling? My heart broke a little more. Go back to bed, sweetheart. Everything's okay. But we both knew that wasn't true. I woke up alone. Kalantha had spent the night in the guest room, and by the time I dragged myself downstairs for coffee, she was already gone. Her car wasn't in the driveway, and there was no note explaining where she'd went. Issa sat at the kitchen table, stirring her cereal absently, her 7-year-old face creased with worry. Where's Mommy? She asked as I poured my coffee. She had some errands to run, I lied, hating myself for it. She'll be back later. Are you and Mommy fighting? I sat down across from her, studying her serious brown eyes, so much like her mother's, but without the calculation I'd grown used to seeing in Kalantha's gaze. Sometimes grown-ups disagree about things, I said carefully, but that doesn't mean we don't love you. She nodded, but I could tell she wasn't entirely convinced. Kids were smart that way. They could sense when the foundation of their world was shifting, even when the adults tried to hide it. My phone buzzed with a text from my mother, Miriam. Saw some concerning photos on social media last night. Call me when you can. Great. If my mother had seen the pictures, that meant they'd made the rounds through our entire social circle. I could only imagine what people were saying. Another text, this one from my best friend Marcus. Dude, what the hell? Everyone's talking about Kalantha and Jessie at the club. You okay? I set the phone aside without responding. I wasn't ready to deal with the public humiliation aspect of this mess yet. Kalantha finally came home around noon, carrying shopping bags from the mall. She breezed into the kitchen where I was making lunch for Issa, acting as if nothing had happened. Hey, baby girl, she said, kissing Issa's forehead. Did you miss me? Where were you? Issa asked. Shopping with Aunt Sabine. We had brunch and did some retail therapy. She shot me a pointed look. Sometimes a girl needs to get out and remember who she is. I bit my tongue, not wanting to start another fight in front of our daughter. Issa, why don't you go play in your room for a bit? I suggested. Mummy and I need to talk. Once Issa was upstairs, Kalantha turned to me with her arms crossed. I hope you've had time to think about what you said last night, because it was completely out of line. I stared at her, amazed by her ability to rewrite history in real time. What I said was out of line. You basically called me a bad wife and mother because I went out and had some fun. You made me feel like a prisoner in my own marriage. Kalantha, you were grinding on another man in public. How is that having innocent fun? I was dancing. God, you make it sound so sordid. She pulled out her phone and started scrolling. I talked to Sabine about it this morning. She thinks you're being completely unreasonable. She said most men would be flattered that their wives are still attractive enough to get attention from younger guys. Most men would be flattered that their wives are cheating on them. Cheating? Her voice rose to a near shriek. I didn't cheat on anyone. I danced with someone at a club. That's not cheating, that's living. And the texting, the private conversations with Jessie that you delete from your phone. Her face went pale. How do you know about... She caught herself. I don't delete anything. And even if I did, I'm entitled to privacy. Privacy from your husband. Privacy from anyone who wants to control and monitor my every move. She was getting worked up again, her voice taking on that victim tone she used whenever she was backed into a corner. I can't believe you're trying to make me the bad guy here. I'm not the one with trust issues. I'm not the one who sees threats everywhere. The threats are real, Cal. Jessie has been trying to get with you for months, and you've been encouraging it. I've been friendly. There's a difference. Is there? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you've been having an emotional affair at minimum. She laughed bitterly. An emotional affair? Jesus, Adrien, do you even hear yourself? You sound completely paranoid. Then show me your phone. The request hung in the air between us. Kalantha's expression shifted through several emotions: surprise, anger, and something that looked suspiciously like panic. Absolutely not, she said finally. I'm not going to be treated like a criminal in my own home. If you have nothing to hide... Everyone has something to hide. Everyone deserves privacy. The fact that you think you're entitled to go through my personal conversations just proves how controlling you've become. I felt that familiar wave of self-doubt washing over me. Was I being controlling? Was I overreacting to what might have been innocent flirtation? But then I remembered the photos I'd seen, the way she'd been pressed against Jessie, the look on her face, the complete disregard for our marriage and family. I'm not trying to control you, I said quietly. I'm trying to save our marriage. Our marriage doesn't need saving. Your insecurity does. Before I could respond, her phone buzzed with a notification. She glanced at it and smiled. Actually smiled, before quickly typing a response. Who was that? I asked. None of your business. She slipped the phone into her back pocket. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You think you have the right to monitor every aspect of my life. I think I have the right to know if my wife is texting other men. It was Sabine, if you must know. She's planning another girls' night for next weekend. Something in her tone told me she was lying, but I was too exhausted to press the issue. We'd been going in circles for months, having the same fights about the same issues, with nothing ever getting resolved. I'm going to pick up some groceries, I said, grabbing my keys. We'll talk about this later. There's nothing to talk about, she called after me. I'm not going to apologize for living my life. As I drove to the store, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was losing my wife, had maybe already lost her. The woman I'd married 8 years ago wouldn't have behaved this way, wouldn't have been so callous about my feelings, so dismissive of our vows. But maybe that woman had never really existed. Maybe I'd just been seeing what I wanted to see. My phone rang as I pulled into the grocery store parking lot. It was Marcus again. Hey man, I answered, not sure I was ready for this conversation. Dude, I've been trying to reach you all day. Are you okay? Because the whole town is talking about what happened at the club last night. My stomach dropped. What do you mean, the whole town? There's a video, Adrien. Someone filmed Kalantha and Jessie dancing, and it's been making the rounds on social media all day. It's pretty bad, man. I closed my eyes, leaning my head against the steering wheel. How bad? Bad enough that my wife asked me if you knew what your wife was up to. Bad enough that people are taking sides and arguing about it in the comments. Jesus. Where are you right now? You want to grab a beer and talk about this? I'm at the grocery store. And honestly, Marcus, I don't know what there is to talk about. My marriage is falling apart. My wife thinks she's done nothing wrong. And apparently the whole town has video evidence of her, whatever the hell that was. For what it's worth, most people are on your side. They think she crossed a line. And the others. Marcus was quiet for a moment. The others think you should have been there to stop it. After we hung up, I sat in my car for another 10 minutes, trying to process the fact that my private humiliation had become public entertainment. Somewhere out there, people were watching my wife disrespect our marriage and debating whose fault it was. When I finally made it home with the groceries, Kalantha was in the living room with her laptop, typing furiously. "What are you doing?" I asked. "Damage control," she said without looking up. "Apparently some loser filmed me dancing last night and posted it online. I'm setting the record straight." "And what's the record exactly?" She finally looked at me, her expression defiant. "That I'm a grown woman who went out dancing with friends, and anyone who has a problem with that needs to mind their own business." "Kalantha, people saw the video. They know it wasn't just innocent dancing. People see what they want to see. And if they want to make something dirty out of a harmless moment, that says more about them than it does about me." I watched her type, probably crafting some social media post that would paint her as the victim of small-town gossip and judgmental attitudes. It was her specialty, turning any situation where she was clearly in the wrong into an opportunity to claim persecution. "What about us?" I asked. "What about our marriage?" She paused her typing and looked at me with something approaching pity. "Our marriage will be fine as soon as you stop letting other people's opinions matter more than your wife's happiness." But as I looked at her, really looked at her, I realized that our marriage was already over. She just hadn't figured it out yet. The video went viral in our small community over the weekend. By Monday morning, I couldn't walk into my office at the accounting firm without feeling like everyone was staring at me, whispering behind my back, or offering awkward condolences like someone had died. "Adrien, you have a minute?" My partner, David, stuck his head into my office around 10 a.m. "Sure, what's up?" He closed the door behind him and sat down across from my desk looking uncomfortable. "I wanted to check in with you, see how you're holding up with everything that's been going on." "I'm fine," I lied. "Just some personal stuff I'm working through." "Look, I don't want to pry, but when personal stuff starts affecting the business..." He trailed off, clearly struggling with how to phrase whatever he was trying to say. "What do you mean?" "The Henderson account called this morning. They're concerned about some social media posts your wife made over the weekend. Something about standing up to judgmental people and living authentically. They feel it reflects poorly on the firm's family values." I felt my stomach drop. The Henderson account was one of our biggest clients, a conservative family business that prided itself on traditional values. If they pulled their account because of Kalantha's behavior, it would be a significant financial hit. "I'll talk to them," I said. "It might be better if I handle it," David said gently, "at least until things calm down." The implication was clear. My wife's public meltdown was affecting my professional reputation. I nodded, not trusting myself to speak. After David left, I pulled up Kalantha's Facebook page to see what she'd posted. What I found made my blood run cold. "Marriage is about trust, not control," she'd written. "When you love someone, you celebrate their joy and freedom instead of trying to cage them. Some people would rather tear down a confident woman than examine their own insecurities. I refuse to apologize for being alive, attractive, and unashamed." Living authentically. Marriage goals. Confident woman. The post had dozens of comments, split between people supporting her independence and others calling her out for disrespecting her marriage. But what bothered me most wasn't the post itself. It was the fact that she'd made our private conflict public. painting me as a controlling husband without giving me a chance to defend myself. My phone buzzed with a text from my mother. "We need to talk. Can you come by after work?" Then another from Marcus. "Saw Kalantha's post. This is getting out of hand, man." And finally, one from my sister-in-law, Sabine. "Your wife is a strong woman who deserves better than your jealousy. Back off and let her live." I stared at that last message for a long time. Sabine had always been Kalantha's biggest enabler, encouraging her worst impulses and validating her victim complex. But seeing it spelled out so bluntly, the assumption that I was the problem, that my hurt was just jealousy, made something inside me snap. I called Kalantha. "What?" she answered, her tone immediately defensive. "Take down the Facebook post." "Excuse me?" "The post about marriage and trust. Take it down. Now." "Are you out of your mind?" "I'm not taking down anything. I have every right to express my feelings." "Your feelings are affecting my job, Kalantha. The Henderson account is reconsidering their contract because of your social media drama." There was a pause. "That's not my problem. If they can't handle a woman speaking her truth, they're not the kind of people we want to do business with anyway." "We?" "There is no we in this. You don't work here. You don't depend on these clients for your livelihood. But I do, and so does our family. Don't you dare try to guilt me into silence. I will not be muzzled because some uptight clients can't handle reality." Reality. I couldn't keep the anger out of my voice anymore. "The reality is that you publicly disrespected our marriage, and now you're making it worse by airing our private business online." "I didn't mention you by name." "Everyone knows who you're talking about, Cal. Everyone in town saw that video, and now they're reading your post about controlling husbands. It doesn't take a genius to connect the dots." "Good. Maybe now people will understand what I'm dealing with." The casual cruelty of that statement took my breath away. She wasn't just unrepentant, she was actively trying to destroy my reputation to protect her own. "I want you to take down the post," I said again, my voice steady, despite the rage building inside me. "And I want you to stop trying to control my life. Guess we're both going to be disappointed." She hung up. I sat in my office for another hour, staring at my computer screen without seeing anything. My marriage was disintegrating in real time, my professional reputation was under attack, and my wife seemed determined to burn everything down rather than admit she'd made a mistake. Around noon, I got a call from Issa's school. "Mr. Price, this is Mrs. Chen, Issa's teacher. I was wondering if we could schedule a conference to discuss some concerns." "What kind of concerns?" "Issa seems upset lately. She's been having trouble concentrating, and this morning, she asked me if it was normal for mommies and daddies to yell at each other every night." My heart sank. "We'll figure something out. Thank you for calling." "Mr. Price, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but whatever's going on at home, Issa is definitely feeling the effects. Children are more perceptive than we give them credit for." After I hung up, I made a decision that would change everything. I called my lawyer. "Tom, it's Adrien Price. I need to schedule a consultation." "Personal or business?" "Personal. I think I need to discuss my options regarding a separation." There was a pause. "I'm sorry to hear that, Adrien. How soon do you need to come in?" "As soon as possible." "I can see you tomorrow at 2. And, Adrien, don't discuss this with anyone until we talk, okay?" "Understood." That evening, I came home to find Kalantha in the kitchen, cooking dinner as if nothing had happened. She was humming to herself, actually seeming happy for the first time in weeks. "Good day?" I asked, trying to keep my voice neutral. "Actually, yes. I got so much support on my post today. Women from all over town reaching out to tell me how brave I am for standing up for myself." She smiled at me, and for a moment she looked like the woman I'd fallen in love with. Maybe this whole thing will end up being good for us. Maybe it'll force us to have some honest conversations about what we both need. I watched her move around the kitchen, completely oblivious to the fact that I'd spent the day consulting lawyers and fielding calls from my daughter's teacher. In her mind, she was the hero of the story. The brave woman standing up to oppression, inspiring others with her courage. Kalantha, I said carefully, what do you think happens next? What do you mean? With us, with our marriage, where do we go from here? She turned to face me, spatula in hand, looking genuinely confused by the question. We move forward. We work on our communication. You work on your trust issues, and I'll try to be more understanding of your insecurities. My insecurities. Right, I get it. It's hard for some men when their wives get attention from other people. But that's something you need to work through, not something I need to change about myself. I nodded slowly, finally understanding that we were living in completely different realities. In hers, she was the victim of my jealousy and the town's judgment. In mine, she was a woman who'd publicly humiliated her family and was now trying to gaslight her way out of the consequences. I'm going to pick up Isa from my mother's, I said. Okay, dinner will be ready when you get back. As I drove to my mother's house, I realized that Kalantha had no idea what was coming. She thought she could manipulate and gaslight her way through this, like she had with every other conflict in our marriage. But this time was different. This time there were witnesses. This time there was evidence. And this time, I wasn't going to let her rewrite the story. My mother's house sat on a quiet street lined with oak trees, the same house where I'd grown up, where Kalantha and I had brought Isa for Sunday dinners and holiday celebrations. Walking up the familiar front steps, I felt like I was carrying the weight of my family's future on my shoulders. Adrien, honey, come in. Mom hugged me tightly, the kind of hug that said she knew I was falling apart, even if I was trying to hide it. Isa's in the backyard playing with the dog. We sat in her living room, the same floral couch she'd had for 15 years, family photos covering every surface. Most of them included Kalantha, our wedding day, Isa's birth, countless holidays and celebrations where we'd looked like the perfect family. I saw the video, Mom said without preamble, and I saw her Facebook post. I figured you had. What are you going to do? I leaned forward, elbows on my knees, staring at the coffee table. I'm seeing a lawyer tomorrow. Mom was quiet for a long moment. I'm sorry it's come to that. Are you? Because sometimes I feel like I'm going crazy. Like maybe I am overreacting. Maybe I am being controlling. Stop. Her voice was firm. I watched that woman dance with another man like her husband and daughter didn't exist. I read her post calling you controlling for being hurt by it. You're not crazy and you're not overreacting. Sabine thinks I am. Half the people commenting on her post think I am. Sabine has been enabling Kalantha's worst impulses since they were teenagers, and the people supporting her online don't know the whole story. They just see a woman claiming to be oppressed by her jealous husband. But what if... Adrien. Mum reached over and took my hand. I've watched you two together for 8 years. I've seen how you treat her, how you support her, how you've bent over backward to make her happy. What she did wasn't about you not being enough. It was about her choosing to disrespect your marriage. I felt tears burning behind my eyes. Isa asked her teacher if it was normal for parents to fight every night. Mum's face crumpled. Oh, honey. I can't keep living like this, and I can't keep exposing Isa to it. You're doing the right thing, she said quietly. It's going to be hard, but you're doing the right thing. When I picked up Isa, she was unusually quiet on the drive home. Finally, as we pulled into our driveway, she spoke up. Daddy, are you and Mommy getting divorced? The question hit me like a physical blow. Why would you ask that? Because Tommy at school said his parents fought a lot before they got divorced, and you and Mommy fight a lot now. I turned off the engine and twisted in my seat to look at her. Sweetie, sometimes grown-ups have problems they need to work out, but no matter what happens, Mommy and I both love you very much, okay? She nodded, but I could see the worry in her eyes. Will I still live here? You'll always have a home, baby girl, no matter what. Dinner was tense. Kalantha kept trying to make conversation, asking about Isa's day at school, talking about her plans for the week, acting like everything was normal. but there was an undercurrent of tension that even our 7-year-old could feel. After we put Issa to bed, Kalantha cornered me in the kitchen. "You've been weird all evening. What's going on?" "Nothing's going on." "Don't lie to me, Adrien. I know you better than that." The irony of her accusing me of lying wasn't lost on me, but I kept my mouth shut. "Is this about my Facebook post? Because I'm not apologizing for that. I have every right to express my feelings." "Your feelings aren't the problem, Cal. It's how you're expressing them." "By telling the truth? By making our private business public? By painting me as some controlling monster when all I did was ask you not to grind on other men in public?" "There you go again, making it sound so sordid." She crossed her arms, getting defensive. "I was dancing. Period. If you can't handle that, it's your problem, not mine. And the texting with Jessie, the deleted messages, the way you light up every time your phone buzzes, is that just dancing too?" Her face went pale. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Show me your phone, Kalantha. We've been through this. Show me your phone or I'm done." Something in my tone must have gotten through to her because she actually pulled out her phone. But instead of handing it to me, she started frantically swiping and tapping. "What are you doing?" "Nothing, just checking something." I watched her delete messages in real time, her fingers flying across the screen. When she finally looked up, her expression was defiant. "There. Happy now. You can look." I took the phone and scrolled through her text messages. Most of the recent conversations were with Sabine, a few with her mother, some with co-workers. But I noticed that there was no conversation thread with Jessie at all, which meant she'd deleted the entire thing. "Where are the messages with Jessie?" "What messages? We barely text." "Kalantha, I've seen you texting with him. I've watched you smile at your phone when his name pops up." "You're imagining things." I handed her phone back, feeling exhausted. "You know what? You're right. I am imagining things. I'm imagining that I married someone who respected me enough to be honest with me." "I am being honest." "No, you're not. You're lying to my face while deleting evidence of your lies. And then you're making me feel crazy for noticing." "I'm not making you feel anything. Your feelings are your responsibility." That phrase, "your feelings are your responsibility," was something she'd picked up from some self-help book she'd read a few months ago. She used it whenever she wanted to avoid accountability for hurting someone. "You're right," I said quietly. "My feelings are my responsibility, which is why I'm taking responsibility for them." She looked confused. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means I'm done trying to make this work with someone who thinks respecting our marriage is optional." "Adrien, you're being dramatic." "Am I? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you've checked out of this marriage completely. You're emotionally involved with another man, you're publicly humiliating me, and you're lying about all of it." "I'm not emotionally involved with anyone except my husband, even if he's too paranoid to see it." I stared at her, this woman I'd loved for nearly a decade, and realized that I didn't recognize her anymore. Maybe she'd always been this manipulative, this skilled at twisting reality to suit her narrative. Or maybe the attention from younger men had changed her, made her feel like she deserved better than the life we'd built together. Either way, I was done. "I'm sleeping in the guest room tonight," I said. "Fine. Maybe some space will help you think more clearly." As I gathered my pillow and headed downstairs, I heard her on the phone with Sabine, her voice carrying down the hallway. "He's being completely unreasonable. I know, right? It's like he wants me to be miserable. No, I'm not going to apologize for living my life." I closed the guest room door and called Tom, my lawyer. "Tom, I know it's late, but I need to move up our appointment. Can you see me first thing in the morning?" "Of course. Everything okay?" "No," I said, looking at the wedding photo on the nightstand, a picture of two people who looked so happy, so sure of their future together. "Everything's not okay." The law office of Tom Bradley and Associates occupied the third floor of a downtown building that had seen better days. Tom had been my lawyer for years, handling the incorporation of my accounting practice and various business matters. I'd never imagined I'd be sitting across from him discussing the dissolution of my marriage. "Before we get started," Tom said, pulling out a legal pad, "I need to ask you some questions. Have you discussed separation or divorce with your wife?" "Not explicitly, but I think she knows something's coming." "Good. I want you to be very careful about what you say and do from this point forward. Don't make any threats, don't move any money around, don't do anything that could be construed as hostile or vindictive. I just want to protect my daughter and get out of this marriage with my dignity intact. Tell me everything. Start from the beginning." I spent the next hour laying out the whole story, the flirting, the club incident, the video, the social media drama, the lies and gaslighting. Tom took notes, occasionally asking for clarification or more details. "Do you have copies of the video and the social media posts?" "I can get them." "Do that. Screenshot everything before she has a chance to delete it. And I want you to start documenting every interaction you have with her. Dates, times, what was said. If she's as manipulative as you're describing, we need to be prepared." "What about Issa? What happens to her in all this?" "That depends on a lot of factors. But based on what you've told me, your wife's behavior could be seen as detrimental to the child's emotional well-being. The school calling about Issa's distress is significant." "I don't want to hurt Kalantha. I just want out." "I understand. But Adrien, you need to be prepared for the possibility that she's not going to make this easy. People who are skilled at manipulation don't usually go quietly." That afternoon, I went home to find Kalantha in the living room with Sabine. They were huddled over Kalantha's laptop, and both looked up guiltily when I walked in. "Hey, honey," Kalantha said, her voice artificially bright. "Sabine just stopped by to help me with something." "Help you with what?" Sabine answered before Kalantha could. "We're working on a blog post about marriage and independence. Kalantha has such an important perspective to share." I felt my blood pressure spike. "A blog post?" "It's nothing bad," Kalantha said quickly. "Just some thoughts about maintaining your identity in a marriage, not losing yourself to someone else's expectations." "More thoughts about what a controlling husband I am?" "It's not about you specifically. Everything you've posted lately has been about me specifically. You're just not using my name." Sabine stood up, her expression hostile. "Maybe if you gave your wife the support she deserves, instead of trying to control her every move, she wouldn't need to seek validation elsewhere." "Validation elsewhere?" I looked between them. "Is that what we're calling it now?" "Kalantha is a beautiful, vibrant woman who deserves to feel appreciated. If you can't handle other people recognizing that, maybe you need to work on your own self-esteem." I turned to Kalantha. "Is this what you think? That this is all about my self-esteem?" She looked uncomfortable, caught between her sister's aggression and my obvious hurt. I think maybe we both need to work on some things." "What do I need to work on exactly?" "Your jealousy, your need to control my social interactions, your inability to trust me." "My inability to trust you?" I couldn't keep the disbelief out of my voice. "Cal, you've been lying to me for months. You deleted an entire text conversation with Jesse right in front of me." "I deleted it because you were being paranoid about nothing. Sometimes it's easier to eliminate the source of conflict than to keep fighting about imaginary problems." Sabine nodded approvingly. "Exactly. You were creating drama where none existed." I stared at them both, these two women who had apparently decided that reality was whatever they said it was. In their version of events, I was a jealous, controlling husband who couldn't handle his wife's popularity. The video, the inappropriate dancing, the emotional affair, none of that mattered because they'd decided it didn't happen. "Where's Issa?" I asked. "At your mother's," Kalantha said. "We thought it would be better if she wasn't here while we worked on this." "Worked on what?" Your blog post about what a terrible husband I am. It's not about you being terrible, Kalantha said, her voice taking on that patient tone she used when she thought I was being unreasonable. It's about the importance of maintaining your independence in a relationship, about not letting fear and jealousy destroy something beautiful. Fear and jealousy of what? Of the fact that other people find me attractive, of the fact that I'm not going to shrink myself to make you feel more secure. I looked at her, really looked at her, and realized that she genuinely believed what she was saying. In her mind, she was the victim of my insecurity, not the perpetrator of emotional infidelity. I'm going to get Issa, I said. We'll be done here soon, Kalantha called after me. Maybe when you get back, we can all have dinner together and talk about moving forward. Moving forward. As if the past few weeks had been a minor disagreement that could be resolved with a family meal and some positive thinking. I drove to my mother's house in a daze, my phone buzzing with notifications. When I checked it at a red light, I saw that Kalantha had posted something new on Facebook. The preview showed a photo of her and Sabine, both smiling brightly, with the caption, "Grateful for sisters who remind you of your worth when others try to dim your light." By the time I reached my mother's house, the post had dozens of likes and supportive comments from people who had no idea what was really going on. "How did it go with the lawyer?" Mom asked as I walked in. "He wants me to document everything, screenshot the social media posts, keep track of our conversations." "That's smart." She's writing a blog post now, with Sabine's help, about maintaining independence in marriage. Mom shook her head. That girl is determined to make herself the victim of this story. Maybe she really believes she is. Maybe, but belief doesn't make it true. Issa ran up to me, wrapping her arms around my waist. "Daddy, Grandma made cookies." "That's great, sweetheart. You ready to go home?" "Can I stay here tonight? Grandma said we could watch movies and eat popcorn." I looked at my mother, who nodded. "It might be better if she stayed here tonight. Give you and Kalantha some space to work things out." Work things out. Everyone kept using that phrase, as if this was a problem that could be solved with better communication or couples therapy. But you couldn't work things out with someone who refused to acknowledge that there was a problem in the first place. "Okay, baby girl, you can stay with Grandma tonight. I'll see you tomorrow." As I drove home, I realized that I was returning to a house that no longer felt like home, to a wife who no longer felt like my partner, to a marriage that existed only on paper. Kalantha was in the kitchen when I got back, cooking dinner for two. "Where's Issa?" she asked. "Staying at Mum's tonight." "Oh." She looked disappointed. "Well, maybe that's good. We can have some time to really talk without interruptions." "What do you want to talk about?" "Us, our future, how we move past this rough patch and get back to being happy." I sat down at the kitchen table, watching her move around the kitchen like everything was normal. "Kalantha, do you love me?" The question seemed to surprise her. "Of course I love you. Why would you ask that?" "Because nothing you've done lately feels like love. It feels like you're trying to hurt me as much as possible while making it look like it's my fault." She turned off the stove and came to sit across from me. "Adrien, I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm trying to be myself, and if that threatens you, then we need to figure out why." "It doesn't threaten me. It hurts me. There's a difference." "Is there? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you want me to be someone I'm not, just to make you feel better." "I want you to be my wife. I want you to act like our marriage matters to you." "It does matter to me, but not more than my own happiness and self-respect." And there it was, the truth she'd been dancing around for weeks. Her happiness and self-respect were more important than our marriage, our family, our vows. "Then I guess we don't have anything else to talk about," I said quietly. "What do you mean?" "I mean, if you think respecting our marriage is incompatible with your happiness, then maybe you shouldn't be married." Her face went pale. Are you asking for a divorce?" "I'm saying that I can't keep living like this. I can't keep being married to someone who thinks I'm the enemy." "I don't think you're the enemy." "Yes, you do. Every post you make, every conversation we have, every time you defend your right to flirt with other men, you're treating me like I'm the obstacle to your happiness instead of your partner." She was quiet for a long moment, staring at her hands. When she looked up, there were tears in her eyes. "I don't want to get divorced," she said softly. "Then stop acting like you do." "I don't know how to do that without losing myself." "If being married to me means losing yourself, then maybe we shouldn't be married." The words hung in the air between us, heavy and final. For the first time in weeks, Kalantha looked genuinely scared. "What about Issa?" "Issa deserves parents who respect each other. Right now, she's watching her mother publicly humiliate her father and learning that this is what marriage looks like." I never meant for any of this to affect her. But it has. Her teacher called. She's asking questions about divorce. Kalantha started crying then, real tears that seemed to come from somewhere deep inside. "I don't know how to fix this." "You could start by taking down the social media posts, by cutting contact with Jesse, by admitting that you crossed a line instead of making me feel crazy for noticing." She was quiet for a long time. Then, finally, "What if I can't? What if I've gone too far to take it back? Then I guess we'll both have our answer." That night, I slept in the guest room again, and for the first time in weeks, the house was completely quiet. 3 days later, Kalantha still hadn't taken down the social media posts. If anything, she'd doubled down, sharing articles about emotional abuse and gaslighting that were clearly meant to paint me as the villain in our story. The blog post she'd written with Sabine had gone live on some lifestyle website titled "How I Learned to Stop Apologizing for My Own Happiness." I'd screenshotted everything, just like Tom had advised. The evidence folder on my phone was growing daily. Meanwhile, the whispers around town were getting louder. The Henderson account had officially pulled their business. 2 other clients had made pointed comments about family values and setting a good example. My professional reputation was taking a beating because my wife couldn't admit she'd made a mistake. Thursday afternoon, I got a call that changed everything. "Adrien, this is Tasha Lynn." Jesse's girlfriend. I'd met her a few times at gym social events, but we'd never really talked. "Hi, Tasha. What can I do for you?" "I need to tell you something about Jesse and your wife." My stomach dropped. "What about them?" "Can we meet somewhere? I don't want to do this over the phone." We met at a coffee shop downtown, away from our usual haunts. Tasha looked nervous, fidgeting with her purse strap as she sat down across from me. "I should have said something sooner," she began, "but I kept hoping it would just stop on its own." "What would stop?" "The texting, the calls, the way she's been throwing herself at him for months." "Tell me everything." "It started back in February. She joined the gym and Jesse was assigned as her trainer. At first it seemed normal. She was flirty, but lots of clients are flirty. But then she started texting him outside of sessions." "What kind of texts?" "At first, just questions about workouts and nutrition. But then they got more personal. She started asking about his life, his relationship with me, whether he was happy." I felt sick. "How do you know all this?" "Because Jesse told me. He thought it was funny at first, this married woman with a crush on him. But then she started getting more aggressive." "Aggressive how?" "Showing up at the gym when she didn't have sessions, just to talk to him. Asking him to meet her for coffee to discuss her fitness goals. Texting him late at night when she was having problems with you. She was telling him about our marriage. Everything. How you didn't understand her, how you were jealous and controlling, how she felt trapped. Jesse ate it up. He's got a bit of an ego, and here was this older woman telling him how mature and understanding he was compared to her husband. Did they... I couldn't finish the question. Sleep together? No, but not for lack of trying on her part. She made it clear she was available, that her marriage was basically over anyway. And the night at the club? Tasha's expression hardened. That was her making a play. She knew I'd be there, knew I'd see them together. She was trying to make him choose. Choose between you and her. Between his comfortable relationship with me and his exciting affair with her. She thought if she could get him to cross that line publicly, he'd have to commit to her. I sat back in my chair, processing this information. All this time, I'd been focused on the dancing, the video, the public humiliation. But that had just been the tip of the iceberg. Why are you telling me this now? Because Jesse finally told her to back off, and she's been harassing him ever since. Calling and texting constantly, showing up at his apartment, threatening to tell me lies about him if he doesn't give her another chance. Threatening him. She said she'd tell everyone that he seduced her, that he took advantage of his position as her trainer. She said she'd ruin his career if he didn't stop playing games with her. I felt a cold rage building in my chest. Do you have proof of any of this? Jesse saved some of the texts. He was getting scared of what she might do. Tasha pulled out her phone and showed me screenshots of messages from Kalantha. You're making a mistake, read one. We have something special, and you're throwing it away for someone who doesn't understand you like I do. Another, I know you felt it too that night. Stop pretending you didn't. And finally, if you think you can just use me and throw me away, you're wrong. I have options too. Can you send these to me? I asked. Already done. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number containing the screenshots. There's something else, Tasha said. Jessie recorded one of her phone calls, the one where she threatened to lie about him. He recorded her. He was scared. He'd heard stories about trainers getting in trouble because clients made false accusations. He wanted protection. Can I hear it? Tasha pulled up an audio file on her phone. Kalantha's voice came through clearly, angry and desperate. You can't just pretend nothing happened between us, Jessie. I left my family event early to be with you that night. I risked my marriage for you. Kalantha, we danced. That's all. You're reading too much into it. Don't lie to me. I know what I felt. I know what you felt. And if you think you can just go back to your little girlfriend and pretend I don't exist, you're wrong. I think you should focus on your marriage. My marriage is over. It's been over for months. The only reason I haven't left yet is because I was waiting for you to make a move. I'm not going to make a move. I'm with Tasha and you're married. Fine. But don't expect this to just go away quietly. I have ways of making things very uncomfortable for you. The recording ended. I sat in stunned silence, trying to process what I'd just heard. This wasn't the woman I'd married. This wasn't even the manipulative person I'd been living with for the past few weeks. This was someone I didn't recognize at all. I'm sorry, Tasha said quietly. I know this must be horrible to hear. Thank you for telling me, for showing me the truth. What are you going to do? I'm going to end this, all of it. That evening, I called Tom and arranged an emergency meeting for the next morning. Then I called my mother and asked if Issa could stay with her for the weekend. Is everything okay? She asked. It will be soon. When I got home, Kalantha was in the living room, typing on her laptop again. She looked up when I walked in, and for a moment I saw something flicker across her face. Guilt, maybe, or recognition that the game was finally up. How was your day? She asked, her voice artificially bright. Enlightening. What's that supposed to mean? It means I had an interesting conversation with Tasha Lynn. All the color drained from her face. What did she tell you? The truth. Something you've apparently forgotten how to do. Adrien, whatever she said, she showed me the text Kalantha, the ones where you threatened Jesse, the ones where you told him your marriage was over. She stood up slowly, her laptop sliding to the floor. You don't understand the context. I heard the phone call too, the one where you told him you'd been waiting for him to make a move. That's not... I didn't mean... What didn't you mean? That you've been having an emotional affair for months, that you've been telling another man that your marriage is over, that you threatened to destroy his career when he rejected you. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you've been living a double life while making me feel crazy for noticing. She sank back onto the couch, her face in her hands. I never meant for it to go this far. How far did you mean for it to go? I don't know, I was lonely, and he made me feel good about myself. You were lonely? We live in the same house, Kalantha. We sleep in the same bed. How are you lonely? You don't understand what it's like to feel invisible in your own marriage. Invisible? I couldn't keep the anger out of my voice anymore. I tell you, you're beautiful every day. I support your career. I help with Issa. I try to be present. But you don't see me. Not really. You see the wife, the mother, the role I play. You don't see me as a person with my own desires and dreams. And Jesse did? He saw me as a woman, as someone worth pursuing, worth fighting for, worth lying to your husband for, worth threatening when he rejected you. She looked up at me with tears in her eyes. I know I made mistakes. Mistakes? Kalantha, you've been conducting an affair for months while gaslighting me into thinking I was paranoid. You've publicly humiliated our family, damaged my career, and traumatized our daughter. These aren't mistakes. They're choices. I can fix this. I can make it right. How? How do you fix months of lies? How do you take back the threats, the manipulation, the complete destruction of trust? I'll do whatever it takes. I'll go to counseling. I'll cut contact with Jesse. I'll take down the posts. It's too late for that. It's not too late. We can work through this. No, we can't. Because even now, even caught red-handed, you're still trying to minimize what you did. You're still making excuses. I'm not making excuses. You called it loneliness. You blame me for not seeing you. You're still trying to make this my fault somehow. She was crying harder now, but I felt nothing. The woman I'd loved was gone, had maybe never existed in the first place. What about Issa? She asked. What about her? You should have thought about Issa before you decided to blow up our family for a gym trainer who didn't even want you. The cruelty of that statement seemed to break something inside her. She doubled over, sobbing, and for a moment I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. I'll be staying at my mother's tonight, I said. Tomorrow you're going to get served with separation papers. I suggest you find yourself a good lawyer. Adrien, please. It's over, Kalantha. It's been over for months. You just didn't bother to tell me. I packed a bag and left her crying on the couch. As I drove to my mother's house, I felt something I hadn't experienced in months. Peace. The next morning, Tom's process server delivered the papers while I sat in my lawyer's office, planning the next phase of my life. The separation agreement was comprehensive: custody arrangements, asset division, and most importantly, a detailed accounting of Kalantha's behavior that would make any future divorce proceedings very straightforward. She's going to fight this, Tom warned me. Let her fight. I have evidence, witnesses, and the truth on my side. The truth doesn't always win in family court. Maybe not, but at least I'll be able to sleep at night knowing I didn't let her destroy what's left of our family's dignity. My phone buzzed with a text from Kalantha. Please call me. We can work this out. I deleted it without responding. Then another. Think about Issa. Think about our family. Delete. A third. You're making a huge mistake. I love you. I turned off my phone. That afternoon, I picked up Issa from school myself for the first time in weeks. Daddy, you're here. She ran to me, her backpack bouncing behind her. I'm here, sweetheart, and I'm not going anywhere. As we drove home, to my mother's house, which would be our home for the foreseeable future, Issa chatted about her day, her friends, her upcoming school play. She seemed lighter somehow, as if the weight of her parents' toxic relationship had been lifted from her small shoulders. Daddy, she said as we pulled into the driveway, are you happy now? The question surprised me. What do you mean? You look different, like you're not worried anymore. I turned to look at my daughter, this perfect little person who deserved so much better than the chaos Kalantha and I had been putting her through. I am happy, I realized. For the first time in a long time, I'm happy. Good, she said, unbuckling her seatbelt. I like it when you're happy. 6 months later, the divorce was finalized. Kalantha had tried to fight it, hiring an expensive lawyer and attempting to paint me as the controlling husband she'd described in her blog posts. But the evidence was overwhelming. The texts, the recorded phone calls, the witness statements from Tasha and others who had watched her behavior escalate. In the end, she agreed to a settlement that gave me primary custody of Issa with generous visitation rights for her. She also agreed to take down all the social media posts and public statements about our marriage. The last I heard, she was dating someone new, a younger man she'd met at a coffee shop who apparently appreciated her free spirit. I wished them both luck. They were going to need it. As for me, I focused on rebuilding my life and my relationship with my daughter. My business recovered, my reputation was restored, and slowly I began to remember who I was outside of that toxic marriage. Issa thrived in the calmer environment, her grades improved, and she stopped asking questions about divorce. She saw her mother every other weekend and seemed to enjoy their time together, but she never asked to live with Kalantha full-time. One evening, about a year after the separation, Issa and I were making dinner together when she looked up at me with those serious brown eyes. "Daddy, I'm glad you and Mommy aren't married anymore." "Why's that, sweetheart?" "Because now you both seem happier, and I don't have to worry about you fighting all the time." I hugged her tight, this wise little girl who had somehow emerged from our family's wreckage stronger and more resilient than either of her parents. "I'm glad too, baby girl. I'm glad too." Looking back, I realized that Kalantha had been right about one thing. She had deserved better than our marriage. But not because I was controlling or jealous or inadequate. She deserved better because she deserved to be with someone who was as dishonest, manipulative, and selfish as she was. Someone who would appreciate her particular brand of chaos. And I deserved better too. I deserved honesty, respect, and a partner who understood that love wasn't about getting your way at any cost. It took me almost losing everything to learn that lesson. But once I did, my real life could finally begin.